Do you know how the meme of a Steiner Scout Lance was born? And how this recon formation sneaked its way into the BattleTech canon? I'm gonna tell you, because here we have an almost spoiler-free review of Heir to the Dragon by RobertNCharrette. This book essentially follows the life of Theodore Kurita, son and heir of Coordinator Takashi Kurita, from the death of his grandfather, Hohiro Kurita, in the year 3004, all the way to the aftermath of the War of 39 in the year 3040. With this novel, we will conclude the classic Succession War era of BattleTech, and it also is a bridge between this episode and the clan invasion era 20 years later. As a result, this is the only novel that pays attention to the quite significant War of 3039. And besides that, we can also get a glimpse of the Fourth Succession War in Kurita's space, including the other side of Operation CONTAGION and the fall of a certain Frederick Steiner. Plus, additionally, this is the only novel that handles the Operation Rosebud, the creation of a free Rosselhag Republic, and the only place where we can directly see the first meeting of Anastasius Vogt and Primus Mjundo Waterly. This, of course, makes this novel by default required reading if you want to follow the timeline. Besides that, it is also a deep dive in the political system of the Draconis Combine and the internal struggles of House Kurita itself. In this regard, it's a great companion piece to the other book of RobertNCharrette, Wolves at the Border, which is highly recommended for not only every Kurita fan, but every fan of BattleTech in itself. Since this novel already touches upon so many important events, wars, and developments, it is quite fair to ask a question if it would be possible to simply replace the other novels with this one. And that is sadly not the case. Heir to the Dragon is pretty much a last chapter novel. It is the lid on the Succession War era. And if we go through the book, we will often see events and persons that we already know from previous works, but they're often presented as some kind of fan service. For example, Theodore Kurita has some misadventures in the Rosselhag district, and there he meets a certain duke in red. If you just read the book without prior knowledge, you will just ask yourself, what is this guy? Is there a secondary plot involving this nobleman? Nope, he just appears. Of course, if you have already read the Grey Death trilogy, you will be excited because, wow, great, it's Duke Hasid Recall. Oh, great to see him again. Another event is we can see how a guy in green armor is pestering a nun with a, removed head of a certain person. If you don't know the characters, it's just weird and kind of off-putting. But if you have read Wolves at the Border, you will see the same scene with some grim satisfaction. And you have to read the Warrior trilogy to truly understand why Comstar is so eager to destroy every single version of a Hell Memory Core. This, of course, does not take away from the book itself. As already said, you get a deep glimpse into the struggles of House Kurita itself, the politics and the behavior of the Draconis Combine, and you also learn about the character and the development of Theodore Kurita, who is a very important character in the BattleTech universe. And, besides that, it's really important to simply bridge the gap a bit between the Fourth Succession War and the clan invasion. And my first words were true. This is also the birthplace of a Steiner Scout Lance. We get a glimpse in how you can do recon in the traditional and good old Steiner way. Messingham Valley, Marfik, Deeron Military District, Draconis Combine, 29th of August, 3028. A flashing light on the console demanded Theodore's attention, announcing an incoming comm laser message. He engaged Revenant's auto-trick system to focus the view screen on the source, then flicked the switch to bring the audio to his speakers. The Orion's screen settled on a distant hill, 10 kilometers to the southwest. An increase in magnification allowed Theodore to see the kabuto-helmeted cat face on the chest of a mech crouching there. It was Fujito's Panther. The Tai had moved forward to maintain contact with his recon lance. He had been forced to sever the fiber optic line and was now using a comm laser on a direct line of sight to avoid intercept. Taisa, we have enemy battle mechs coming in from the east. 11th Armored is moving to engage and calling for support. Are the mech scouts? Theodore asked. Lighter battle mechs usually move the head of the main body to determine enemy resistance and disposition. It might be possible to engage the scouting force and deny the Lyran's information about the Kurita position before the heavier forces of the main body arrived. No, sir. These are heavies. We've got 3 assault mechs of at least 90 tons under observation. The remainder of the force appears to be medium and heavy machines. An assault force leading the advance? That made no sense. The orbital battle was still denying full aerial reconnaissance to both sides. To commit one's main force without knowledge of the enemy was foolhardy. Unless, Theodore thought, they've outflanked us. Relay a hold order to the 11th. Their light armor won't stand up to those Steiner mechs. Put some flankers out wide, Tai Tetsuhara. Watch for enemy forces along the forest edge. I don't want any surprises from that direction. How much in the way of armor and infantry is moving up with the mechs? None, sir. Enemy force is... The transmission cut off while the Panther ducked its head as a number of missiles impacted on the hill crests, sending gouts of dirt skyward. Say again. Enemy force is unsupported. Unit markings indicate 4th Sky Rangers, came Fujito's calm voice as soon as he had realigned the comm laser. Message understood, Tai. Keep your eyes on them. Theodore closed the comm link to consider the situation in the humming privacy of Revenant's cockpit. An unsupported advance? The Steiner commander is either an idiot or extremely confident. The latter possibility was a serious concern. Theodore brought up the library program on Revenant's computer, calling for data on his opponents. He did not like what he saw. The 4th Sky Rangers was a formidable unit composed of elite mech warriors, highly trained and motivated, with an impressive record. Their commander was listed as Hauptmann Kommandant Kathleen Heaney. The records of her ability were spotty and deprecatory, but that was typical of Combine reports on female officers, especially Steiner officers.